we'd got a whole load of hire stuff, and we had this sort of Mexican thing turn up. And when it turned up, when we were loading the truck, I got this thing out, and it was just hideous. It was so bad. And I went, oh my God, we can't put him in that. And we made a phone call, and this guy who I think we were hiring stuff from said, look, I've got another Mexican uniform or something, but it's so tiny, it was made for so-and-so. I don't know if it'll ever fit, but, I'll bring it. And we're racking our brains trying to make stuff out of thin air, cutting up curtains, And the morning of the shoot, this Mexican suit turned up with the white embroidery and all that sort of stuff. And we put it in to his trailer, and he put it on, he came out, and it's the best thing that's ever fitted him. It was just fantastic.
I actually wanted, every time he did the Riviera Kid, that he'd go, the Riviera Kid, and then the guitar would fly in and he'd catch it, dun 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 dun, whoom, and that's what I really wanted to do, and I forgot to ask Doug.
They call me the
I think I could have got away with that.
The Riviera Kid.
James Davis made up a rig which Danny could hold between the palms of his hands that the guns would spin on. So it just looked as though he could do the spin. Though actually Danny was pretty good at spinning the guns himself, truth be told.
I'm twirling these real Colt 45s that weigh in excess, I don't know, between a bag of sugar on each finger, and that's how heavy they were. And all of that stuff murdered me because I was practicing it all the time, because the cat could not be, looking in any way that he doesn't know how to use these guns. And it came from, Sammy Davis Jr. used to do it in his act. And there's a great TV show where Sammy Davis does all this stuff, and he's singing da 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 dum, and he's doing his tricks, and then audience, and he goes, well, I wouldn't wear them if I couldn't use them. And I had that in mind when I couldn't, not, if I'm going to wear them, I got to be able to use them.
The name's Brett Riverboat. Knife Man. I was the knife man. I wanted to be the gunman. Do you know what I mean? I think I got the worst character again there. Knife man. Who wants to be a knife man? You want to be a gunslinger, don't you?
I've only been drunk once, and when I was a teenager, and I'm really bad at drinking, so, although I occasionally try. So it was observational acting. I've watched other people be drunk. So I did very bad drunk. But I thought it was fair enough for Kryten to be quite a bad drunk.
It was Rocky who came up with this cracking idea that the simulant spacecraft would have the design of one of those cow skulls that you always see perched in the foreground in the desert of all cowboy films.
A lot of those things were integrated very well, from colour schemes to shapes and patterns and styles.
It's a really, really good bit of design work, and it ties up really nicely with what we did in the cowboy environment. It's just a shame in some ways that we didn't flag that up a little bit more obviously by having one of those cow skulls maybe in the sand out at Laredo.
I am Tarka Doll, an ambassador of the great Vendelian Empire.
That was I loved that gag. I just thought that was inspired, because it was so stupid.
It was great. Like, it was all names from an Indian menu. Bindi Bhaji and Tarka Dal and all this kind of stuff.
I thought they looked really good. I thought you could do a whole series.
The audience laughed just from seeing the cat's mouth upside down with the teeth going upwards. I mean, it did look like an alien.
They wouldn't stick. So every time we come back up, the eyeball would come off.
Craig and Danny had to hand back glass eyeballs to me behind themselves, so they couldn't see me. And I was having to do that sort of bad, no eyeballs acting. And we never found them. They'd hand them to me and I'd drop them, and, there was quite a few retakes on that.
The film noir opening was just done at the back of the studio. I think we did put some trays of water down and bounce some lights into that to pretend we were at the harbour or something, and we hired a car. I think that was our only expense.
Rock the car.
Well, Craig Charles managed that himself, actually, in the car, I think, from his experience. He knew how a car would move. Craig never want to go half measures.
The lava was made out of the same substance that was used as gunge in shows like Noel's House Party, and effectively it's an industrial food thickener. It's if I can product place, it's the powder that you get in stuff like cuppa soup and pot noodle, and when you add boiling water to it, it becomes gelatinous.
Just to scale that, to not feel you've got a bucket of slop and you're pulling a model out of it, is very hard.
The bug actually never enters the fake lava. It goes through a slot in the set, but James Davis had rigged up a small gas explosion, so at the point that the starbug vanishes from view, this great gout of flame comes up, and you completely buy the fact that it's gone straight into the lava.
By the stage it went up for the Emmys, we'd kind of forgotten about it, really. We'd gone down very well in this country, and it was a period of time afterwards. And I was on another job and got the call that we were up for an Emmy, and then a call fairly soon after that we'd won it. So it was very exciting, yeah.
One always hopes that on any show that you work on that there's an award in it somewhere, but the Emmy is probably the biggest award in TV, and so we were thrilled to get it.
Well deserved for Rob and Doug, though. It was a strong series, and that was probably their strongest script within that.
I was in the edit, so I wasn't able to go to that. Rob went with Robert, and I said to Robert, if we win, you must phone me. I'll have my mobile by my bed, it doesn't matter what time, phone me. And he goes, absolutely, of course I will. Went to bed, phone by the side of my bed, woke up in the morning, no message, nothing. I just thought, oh well. So I thought, I wonder who has won. So I turned on the TV, went to teletext, and there it was. We'd won. And that's how I found out. It was so extraordinary. And Robert got invited to some showbiz party and forgot or something. Bastard.